Okay, everybody, we are live broadcasting on Facebook today, and we are going to be talking about tuning up. And once a year or twice a year, I like to tune up. And what a tune up is where we are refocusing. It's very natural for our bodies to gain weight. And, we talked about, a variety of different situations where we've lost weight, we gain a little bit of weight back, we get disappointed in ourselves, and that's the last thing I want you guys to do. So I want you guys to learn how we can easily maintain our weight over time and that we can, continue to follow that journey and remembering that having a weight loss goal is not the end result. So it's great to reach our goal, come to that number that we wanted to reach, feel great about that number. But the bottom line is if we don't put lifestyle strategies into place, we're not going to keep that goal. And understanding that it takes strategies, it takes education, it takes tools to make that happen. And that's why we're all here today is to really understand what it all entails and how to overcome some of those things. So we were talking with Melissa about the 80 pounds she's taken off and some of her stresses and what have you through the holidays. Here's the bottom line. We are always going to have a situation. We're always going to have a stress. There's always going to be things that are out of our control. And the one thing that I always say is, guess what? This is all I can control right here. That's it. I cannot control what's happening out there. I can't control money. I mean, we can, but I can't control what's going to happen at the bank tomorrow. I can't control what's my teenage son might decide to do. I can't control what my parents, if their health goes awry or what have you. So those things are going to keep coming up for us all the time. So those are things that we have to learn not to allow to get in the way of our progress, right? So we're, here we are going down the path and we started up here and little by little, we're making our journey towards our weight loss goal, and maybe we have a bump in the road. So maybe, you travel. Paula likes to travel. She has a beautiful home in Lake Tahoe. Her mom is back east. And so when you go on that trip, what do? Do you just go completely awry? Or do you kind of keep going down that path and maybe you had a few things all planned, but then boom, we're right back going down the road. It's like, getting off the road and having lunch, but you still get back on the road again, right? You don't just like stop there and stay. So, having a plan in place, and part of that journey is there's going to be bumps along the way. So the holidays can be a bump. Summer can be a bump. Maybe you're going through a ton of weddings, or maybe you had to move your mom to another state, or whatever that situation is. We still have to traverse that territory and still come up with a plan while we're doing that. And even when we're in maintenance, so every summer I go to Italy for 3 weeks. Can I go completely wild in Italy? I can't. Otherwise, I'll come back 10 pounds heavier. So Emmy travels constantly, right? Where were you just out for 3 weeks?
Singapore, India, Europe.
Yeah, and she's not on vacation. She's traveling for business. So what we talked about is that's never going to change unless you get a different job or you quit. That stuff's never going to change. So how do we traverse that territory where we learn to do those things And if you are losing weight, how to continue or to learn to maintain on that trip and then continue down. What we were on is kind of a bad path where we would get a little bit of progress and then she'd go on a trip and then we were back here and then we get some progress and then we were back here. Well, we decided that we were going to figure out how to continue to get some progress, even if on her trip it was slower progress than we would have at home. And we've been really successful at that, right? Okay, good. So Jen has, she's on her path back to where she came from. So Jen lost how many pounds?
First time around, it was, oh my gosh, I think it was either 75 or 80.
Right.
The first time around, and then I'm 12 weeks into
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. Okay.
And, I'm at 40 pounds. So it's like, yeah.
Yay. And you just said to me today, this has been a real struggle these last couple of weeks. She's moving to Austin. She's got, things going on. And again, what do we talk about? There's only one thing you can control, and it's this. You can't control the movers. You can't control the stresses at work. You're interviewing for a new job. You're this, you're that, we can't control all of those things. So the one thing that we can do is set up a plan for ourselves each week. And if we're not perfect, not be mean to ourselves, right? Because we're still traveling down that path. So we're not going to quit the path just because there's a bump in the road, right? So that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So tuning up and refocusing, I like to do twice a year. I typically do it around the beginning of February. So I'll do maybe like 3 or 4 weeks around the beginning of February. And then I will do it again once summer is over. And so that keeps me now, I try to stay close to my goal weight all the time. So somewhere between 4 and 6 pounds within my goal weight is really what I like to be at. And is that easy? No, it's not easy. Do I make conscious decisions all the time? Yes. I'm constantly making that decision. It's so much fun to have pizza and pasta and drink tons of wine and eat chocolate cake. And I can do all of that. And I would love to do all of that. But if I do, I'm going to be diabetic. I'm going to have blood pressure meds. I'm going to feel terrible. I'm going to be exhausted, more exhausted than I already am, and on and on and on, right? So do I want to make that choice to be exhausted and completely disgusted with myself? Or would I rather make some good decisions, which aren't always fun decisions, but I'm still satisfied. I'm still eating good stuff that I really do like. I really do like to eat salmon and have healthy veggies and eat salads, and I really do like those foods. And am I around a bunch of people a lot of times that are off doing whatever? Yeah, but I don't care, because I know that at the end of the weekend or the end of the day, I'm going to, my tummy's not going to ache. I'm not going to, feel icky, right? So I'm still going to be going along my journey. So what we want to do when we are doing a tune-up is we want to set a target and we want to set a timeline. So not always having just like, I think when we know that there is a beginning and an end to things, we respond to them better. We, when you first come in here, we talk about, okay, here's what's going to happen. You're going to lose about 8 to 10 pounds every month. So you got 30 pounds to lose. It's going to be about 3 months. Then we're going to phase out. So about 4 months, we're going to be together. We're going to be doing this. And then we're still going to stay together, even though we're now phasing you out of the ideal protein foods. We're going to teach you now how to eat whole foods. And yes, you can do that. It's true. So Eileen, you maintained your weight for 3 years and you were very happy with that. And you did it with whole foods. but did you change the way that you ate before?
Well, I always ate a lot of vegetables and chicken and fish. So I wasn't like ever a burger person or craving, but I got rid of the sugar, that was my downfall, and the carbs, the things like muffins and all that. So that's all gone. And to your point, like I just feel better when I don't have those in my life,
Yeah.
And I focus on the food. I sometimes get on the scale, but I try not to think about it too much, and I just focus on the food, what the healthy food that I'm going to eat, because I know that keeps me at a healthy weight.
Right. And I'm very similar to you in that I used to be like a scale-aholic, and like that's all I could do is jump on the scale first thing in the morning, and oh my God, oh wow, okay, I went up a pound, oh no. And it took me a long time to figure out if I just kind of wear the same clothes all the time, I'm gonna, if something's not fitting, and you can feel when stuff is coming over and you're like, okay, slow the train down, slow it down. So having a little bit of that, and it takes a while to get to that place, but having some peace of mind, and that might help you too, Melissa, is not to just be constantly worried about the number, but more about, okay, I know that I'm putting the right things inside, and trusting the process, and knowing that, if I get 4 days of some 30 minutes of exercise, if I know that I'm eating my foods and I'm journaling to make sure that I'm staying within my, BMR, and I'm drinking all my water, and I'm not indulging more than maybe 2 times per week on a little this or that, I'm going to stay within my goal weight. And yes, once a week coming in, doing that body comp is great in maintenance, but not being hyper focused on that, and not being hyper focused on, oh, I can't have that, or I can't have that. Knowing that you can have anything that you want. It's making that conscious choice of, you know what, that's probably not going to be great for me, so I'm going to pass on that, and I'm going to save that moment for this weekend when I'm going to a party, or I'm going to somebody's, house, or what have you, and having that feeling like you're in control instead of feeling like you're completely out of control. So having a target and setting a timeline, I think we all need to know, here's the beginning, here's the end, but also knowing that there is really no end. There just might be a goal weight end. So kind of reflect on your past successes. Why was it so easy the first time? I personally think it was super easy the first time because we were so in it. We were, in it to win it, or whatever you want to say, where you just had your mindset there. Nothing was going to get in your way. Nobody could hand you anything. And then kind of the second time around, you figured out, well, what's one bite of this, or what's one taste of that? Well, what those things get you is 0 on the, weight loss meter. Great in maintenance, but 0 on the weight loss meter. And so if your goal is, I want to lose 20 pounds or 40 pounds or whatever it is for you, then we want to be in that space where we were the first time we did it. So there's no sense in doing a tune-up if you're not actually going to be in it 100% and actually tune up. So keep it simple. I think sometimes too, we get really, motivated where we want to make muffins and do this and do that. If you're only doing a tune-up for a limited period of time, just keep it simple. Keep it to chicken and broccoli and salmon and asparagus and, your favorite IP foods, and block off, I'm going to do this for 4 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it is, and knowing again that you have the beginning and the end, and you're going to just get there. Set a beginning and end, write them down. Write down the date you are going into maintenance. And I don't mean that the end of the line. Focus focus on the finish line instead of focusing on, oh my gosh, I can't have that right this minute, that instant gratification thing. Focus on the finish line, what your finish line is. And we talked about this last summer, Paula, where it was like, hey, goal is July, right? And we didn't make it, but it's focusing on what's out there instead of what's right here in front of me. And like we talked about, Paula lives this amazing life. She's at concerts and she's here and there and wanting to, feeling like she's different from everybody else. And I think that everybody in this room will say we've had that moment of feeling like, why can't I just eat burgers and fries and milkshakes all the time? And why doesn't that work for me? It doesn't work for 99% of all people, but we don't feel like that. So we know what works on phase 1, right? So don't make stuff up. So don't add a bite of this or a bite of that. And Robin, we've talked about that where we have, oh, well, it was only some salad dressing or it was only, but I can't live without that because I'm so used to that. It's for a limited period of time. We've got a beginning and an end. So let's just make way and keep it simple and do what works because we know that it works. And again, like we talked about, focus on what we can have instead of like, I can't have that. Having the accountability mindset. So setting clear goals. What's your why? And we've talked about this a million times, but your why can be because my, my cholesterol numbers are up, I feel terrible, I'm exhausted all the time, my blood sugar's out of the roof, my doctor said I need to lose weight. So those things can be your why, but it has to go farther than that. So we have to actually not only have a why statement, but a mission statement. So our mission is something, a way deeper layer than that. I want to be able to do everything that my family is doing. So if your family is riding bikes and you're the one that's sitting at home reading a book, saying, oh, I love reading books, when everybody else is, going down the road or hiking or whatever the situation is, and you're staying home because you're not able to be there, make that your mission. So whatever your mission is, to take your grandkids on vacation and not be exhausted at Disneyland or whatever that is, having your mission statement. And your mission is really what helps us assimilate and want it so bad that we continue as we move into lifestyle management. So when the emergency is all gone, we move into lifestyle, and then do we go back to old habits, or do we continue down that steady lifestyle path that is going to sometimes have bumps in the road? So remember that setting a weight goal has an end, but creating a lifestyle has no end. So yes, we want to hit our weight goal, but ultimately we want a lifestyle that has no end. And once the emergency is over, do you go back to your old habits? Or have we now created new habits, new thought processes, new things that we educated ourselves to know that certain things don't work for us, and that's why we don't want to go back to old habits. Being engaged, having realistic goals. Don't have goals that are like, this month I'm going to lose 30 pounds. Being realistic, I know that I can lose 10 pounds each month, so that's realistic and reality for me, and being okay with reality. So one of the things that I think is the most important part of what we do here, and it's great that we have Ideal Protein. Ideal Protein is awesome. It's a great part of our program. But the most important part of your program is me. Did you hear that? Just kidding. No, the most important part of what we do is the support that you get here. So like I loved when each of you walked through the door, and there were a few of you I had absolutely no idea was coming. Jen came first and she said, "Is anybody coming?" I'm like, "Well, you and me so far, but I think so." But it makes me happy that all of you recognize the support that this gives to you. So not only does it individually give you support, but it also creates a community of like-mindedness where you know that there's a whole bunch of other people that feel exactly the way that you do and are just as scared as you. And Jen, that everybody wants to reboot and has been through the experience. I've been through it quite a few times in my life. But knowing that we can get to that place where we don't have to keep revisiting the big why. Now the why is 5 pounds instead of 40 pounds or whatever it is for you, right? So having a coach creates 93% more success. That means that people that don't have a coach have a 7% chance. Think about that. Do you really need a coach? Coaches create accountability. So helping you set clear goals, charting your weekly progress, helping you be fully engaged and being fully engaged. I'm fully engaged with you guys. I love each and every one of you. I know each of your stories. You have my heart, and I can't, it makes me happy when you're happy. And it makes me a little bit sad when I know that I'm not somehow able to help you, that, because we all have to help ourselves. But ultimately, I hope that I'm your stepping stone to where you're going. We provide you with education and tools. Knowledge is power. So learning what really works. And we all know by the time we've done this program once or twice or 3 times, we all know the things that we keep putting back in that don't work. And it's really, there will come a time, I promise you, when you decide little by little, and maybe it takes 5 tries, maybe it takes 8 tries, but there'll come a time when you will go, okay, I'm not putting that piece back in. That has not worked for me 5 times in a row. And that's when we hit the change. Creating behavioral changes, realizing behavioral change is conscious. So those are conscious things that we know we have to change, and then we actually change them. Sometimes it starts by doing a lot of journaling, a lot of writing, a lot of thinking, a lot of crying. But then we get there. Every small change we make has a long-term impact on that. I try to help you be your best, and I recognize that from day to day, your best is different. Just like my best is different. I want you to know that I don't expect you to be perfect, and don't expect yourself to be perfect. And I think sometimes that's where we really fall down, is that we expect so much from ourselves that we would never expect that from someone else. You wouldn't expect it from your kids or your husband, but we are so hard on ourselves. So recognize that your best effort varies from day to day, and be okay with that, and just keep going down that steady lifestyle pathways. Weight management is a lifetime commitment. Weight loss is a temporary solution. So just knowing that, even if you lose 20 pounds this year and then you stop, takes you 2 months, you lose 20 pounds, you stop, you maintain all year long. The next year you start and you lose another 20 pounds. Now we got 40, and then you maintain. In 3 years, you got to your 60-pound goal. Would that be so bad? There's nothing wrong with that. So what we don't want to do is continue the cycle over and over and over. When you get to the point where you're kind of done, then we work together to maintain that. And then when you're ready to do it again, we do it again, and then we work together to maintain that. That's the kind of strategies I hope that we bring together here. So in a tune-up and a reboot, just get back to basics, meet with your coach, set your goals, plan your weekly meals, journal your food and emotions, set your weekly appointments. These are the 4 pointers for success. It's as simple as 4 things. And that's all it takes. Just show up every single week. When you show up every week, are you guys accountable? Do you find success every week? Even if it's a tiny little success, it's still success, right? If you show up every single week. When you journal, do you get more weight loss? Every single week, like clockwork. When you plan your meals, do you have more success?
Yeah.
So it's such little tiny things that are so simple, and you can write them down and put them on your refrigerator. Just a couple more things I wanted to just kind of lightly touch on goal setting. I've got some sheets here that I'm going to give you, which is my 60 days to lifetime change. And take a moment to, during the week, take 10 minutes to yourself and just write down your goal sheet. So your why and mission statements, misspelled. Block time to set your goals. They're not going to happen in your head. Write them down, short-term and long-term goals. Only 3% of all people actually have a written set of goals. So there's that 97%, 3%. Set realistic time frames. So, if you only have 30 or 3 months, you have 30 pounds, be real about it and be happy about it. Make a plan, set your weekly time to review your goals, review them with me. Celebrate your successes, set up rewards for long-term and short-term goals. Maybe, when I get to 10 pounds, I get a massage, or, you get a special thing, you buy yourself a new bag, whatever it is for you. Commit to yourself, write it down. So when we write things down, they become real. We post them on the refrigerator, we read them every day. Suddenly they just start happening. So daily journaling of both your food and emotions that are attached to cravings, weekly shopping, food prep, daily meal planning, knowing what you're going to have to eat, do some light movement every day, go for a little walk, yoga, Pilates, consistently make good choices. So if you can make one change each month, just one little thing. So there's going to be on this, you're going to write a list of things that you would like to change. If you made one change a quarter, you've got 4 changes for the year. If you made one change a month, you've got 12 changes for the year. And they can be as simple as, whatever. I'm going to write in my gratitude journal every day, which creates gratitude. So just different things that you can, and this crosses over all borders. It's not just related to weight loss. Study, learn, grow, and learn what's in your food, because that's where the knowledge comes from. It was so instrumental to me in my 20s when I first started losing weight to learn that popcorn, a big thing of popcorn, which I used to eat at every movie I went to, was 1,200 calories. I was like, what? Hell no. I quit eating big things of popcorn. So it's that easy. It's just knowledge is power. Study other people's success stories, read online, find out what they did. And of course, writing down our goals. I keep saying that over and over. So I thought I would end on the habits of highly successful people. So they take full responsibility. They don't make excuses. I'm fully responsible for everything that happens in my life. Prioritizing and taking the most important things first. So one thing I always say is, if we don't put ourselves first, we can't be good moms. We can't be good business people. We can't be good wives. We can't be good partners. We can't be good if we're sick inside, if we don't like ourselves, if we're not happy, if we're exhausted all the time. Have a morning routine. I love daily meditation, mindfulness practice, whether that's writing in your journal, taking 5 minutes to think about yourself and your affirmations. Make health and exercise a priority. Read and learn continuously, discipline and self-control. And, You know, one of the things I think I hear a lot is, well, I'm just not disciplined, or I'm just, I just don't do that. But take a look at all the different aspects of your lives, and you'll find that you are disciplined. You go to work, you're, so organized, and you've got all of your things in a row, and events happen because of you, and you create this whole thing at work. So clearly you do have discipline and self-control. So again, being kind to ourselves and recognizing that we're people that run companies and create stuff, and recognizing that about yourself, patting yourself on the back. One of the key things is practicing consistency and following through with what you say. Persistence, perseverance, not afraid to fail, self-awareness, practicing gratitude, creating a support system, surrounding yourself with like-minded achievers, goal-oriented, proactive, and take initiative, manage your emotions. We're not always great at that, but who is? Everybody's got some kind of emotion that hits them. Communicate clearly, good listener, value alone time, and love the journey more than the result. And so those are the habits of highly successful people. And I bet if you read on here, each of you would have at least 80% of those. And sometimes we forget because we're always looking at what we didn't do or what we don't have. So really looking at what you do have, and remembering this is just a lifestyle approach. So just really embracing your journey and being okay with that. And so, who has questions? Any questions?
I have a Fit 3D question.
Oh, okay, well, that's not for here. Let me turn this off.
Yeah, I figured.